Fatty Arbuckle.
This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, straight out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, but rocking a beautiful Toronto background behind me.
Oh, it is gorgeous.
Yeah, yep. I plan to make a couple trips to Toronto for Fan Expo and Frightmare in the Falls later this year. But right now, we're talking about music. And it's funny. 2, 3 weeks ago, I saw the re-release screening of Pink Floyd live in Pompeii, and when I was talking to one of my guests today, he says, "I don't know what we could talk about," and I'm like, "You're talking to a master host of somebody who has people come on here with nothing to talk about when we end up talking for an hour, 2 hours, or whatever. So don't tell me you don't have anything to talk about when I'm going to drag shit out of you." Folks, I've had comedian Dale Hilton on here a couple times as a solo. And a couple years back, I had he and his mom, hey, metal mom, on here together to talk about they have an interesting relationship when it comes to music, one I really admire. And
Oh,
today I welcome back Hey Metal Mom. How
yeah,
do you, how do
rock
you,
on.
there you go. There you go. I love the dynamic between you two, I mean, I love my parents. I've never been incredibly close with them, but you two are like best friends, and I think that's admirable.
Oh, totally, totally.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're we go through best friend. Or when you're with your friends and you kind of rib each other and tease each other. Oh, she'll tease me. She'll let me have it sometimes. So
Did
Well, the
did
way
she,
he started comedy too was that we always had entertainment night. TV went off. He got up on a little stage and he performed. I was the audience, but we had a great time doing it. So,
mhm, mhm.
well, tell me, did you
Actually, if I could stay with, go ahead, go ahead.
well, I was going to say, did you make Dale clean his room?
oh,
uh,
let's put it this way: I let him have a little piece of domain of his own. I had to keep the door shut, but the rest of the house was kept clean. So,
yeah. Oh, so many groundings. Yeah, I was gonna say about the comedy. My mom, I was when we had entertainment night, but there'd be nights where watching TV, and as a little kid, my favorite show was the $6 Million Man, and I was waiting for that show to come on, but the show that was on before it was Laugh-In, and there was a guy on there who had long hair, and he said, and I remember, I think I was like 4 or 5 years old, and he said, "I'm not getting on the plane, I'm getting in the plane." And as a little kid, I got it, and I was like, "That's funny." And then I asked my mom, I said, "What is his deal?" And she said, "He's a comedian. He tells jokes." And I want to do that. And that was George Carlin.
yes,
So
yes.
mom kind of introduced me to George Carlin, who got me, since then, and here we are. But that's comedy. That's a whole other story. And I got stories about her and our music, and yeah.
George Carlin is probably the greatest comedian ever, or at least up there, you know? Yeah, yeah.
Right. We're
Well,
gonna turn the phone.
we're gonna talk about music
Hold on
and
here.
oh yeah, you're twisting that thing around. There you go.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Be right back.
She'll be right back. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to talk about music because you guys have done a lot of concerts together, and
Uh-huh.
and shared a lot of those experiences, which are pretty amazing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was one time, and she'll be right back. There was one. Let me see if I can get some light on me. Um, oh well. There was one time I had went to Guns N' Roses. It was Guns N' Roses and Aerosmith,
Hmm.
and I was 19, and the drinking age here at the time was 21, so I wasn't supposed to be drinking. And so I went and got us some at the friend of mine I was with. I got some it ended up being jungle juice with some grain alcohol and some Kool-Aid, and I had both of them. And as I was walking towards my friend, I hear Dale, Dale, and I look over and it's my mom. My mom is at the Guns N' Roses Aerosmith concert, and I was like, "Oh shit, it's my mom!" And I ducked down, and everybody around just starts laughing. And but yeah, that was the same concert we ended up being at.
Yeah, yeah, it was great. It was great. And I like all kinds of music. And we would have times we listen to music and all that. But he helped me expand my thought process on the new types of music.
Hmm.
I'm not, like Metallica, Slayer, the not real fond of the kill your baby and eat it for lunch music. That I some of those bands are, but the fact that I look at musicians as troubadours, as people that tell a story that and also get out there to let people get over their negativity, their aches and pains, and just relax and enjoy themselves and life. That's what I like about music.
She just said it helps you relax and help your aches and pains. Yet I'm in a mosh pit.
Yeah.
Getting my kidneys boxed by some little girl, and yeah, that's relaxing.
And he's come home with so many bruises. I'm like, what happened to you? And then he can't talk, has laryngitis for a day or two. He says, it's a mosh pit. I was in a mosh pit.
Yeah, I was in a mosh pit a couple of times when I saw Avril Lavigne in concert. Yeah,
Wow.
Wow.
yeah, I was really close to the stage when I saw her too. So yeah, so
I
I'm
didn't
gonna
realize Avril Lavigne had a mosh pit.
Yeah.
You got to
yeah,
watch.
she had a mosh pit, and the first time I saw her, I was about I'm just gonna take a guess here and say I was about 5 rows back from the stage. The second time I saw her, I was able to navigate without pushing and shoving, and I was about 2 or 3 rows back. I mean, I took really good pictures of her. So,
Oh,
yeah,
awesome. Awesome.
yep, I got
And
quite close. Yep, yeah. So,
Was that the closest? Was that the closest you've ever seen an entertainer?
no, not at all. I've I do the convention scenes, and I see
Oh,
entertainers up close all the time there. Um,
oh, okay, okay, all right,
Le
all right.
Lisa Langlois is a Canadian actress from the movie class of 1984. She invited me to assist her at a few of the conventions she's done, and she and I've had dinner together a few times. Like I see her when I go to Toronto. Um,
right.
yeah. So, in fact, I did my first convention in the States with her chiller in New Jersey.
Oh,
And
wow, okay, all
yeah,
right.
so
You're a
there's,
brush with greatness.
huh?
You are a brush with greatness. Do you know that expression?
Yep, I
Do they
do.
say
I
that in
do.
Canada?
Oh yeah. Yeah. But I've met several. I mean, like when I was in speaking of entertainers up close, when I was at Chiller, New Jersey, I met William Shatner. I met Sybil
Wow.
Shepherd.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I met
that's
Charles.
fascinating. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That is fascinating. Wow.
Yeah.
I sit in my little cubicle in Grandview, Missouri, and dream.
Oh, you guys should do some of the conventions if they're around, like the Comic Cons and stuff like that. I plan to do my first fan expo in Toronto, which is a big one.
Uh-huh.
I almost did it last year, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, but I had two cons I was doing, so I didn't end up doing it. But John Cleese was supposed to be part of it, but he ended up canceling due to work-related stuff. But and Shannon Doherty was supposed to be there, but she ended up passing away. But
Yes, yes.
but
Bless her
they
heart.
yeah, but they had a lot of great talent there. So I plan to do it this year. And they've got
Uh-huh.
about 19 guests announced, but they'll probably have a good 40 or 50. And some of the
We should get on
autographs.
a plane. We should get on a plane and fly there and meet you for that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they're going to have Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd there.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah,
Fabulous.
Yeah, Michael J. Fox is the most pricey autograph to get, but a lot of his
Okay, that's it.
proceeds, yeah, a lot of his proceeds goes towards Parkinson's, so I'm not going to fault him for that. So,
Right, right.
yeah,
I tell
yeah,
you what, he's a fighter. He's really a fighter.
yeah,
Um, and a,
yeah.
and a great role model.
Yes, he is.
Well, when I asked you that question, I didn't. You were saying you had fifth row for Avril Lavigne. How do you say her name?
Avril Lavigne.
Yeah, I said that
When
wrong.
you had fifth row, when you had fifth row for her, I was going to be like, I had second row to Iron Maiden back in 1985, and my ears are still ringing. That was my brag, but you got me beat, man. You got me beat.
Well, I'll be frank. I had a big crush on Avril, and I still crush on Avril. And
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I understand. I understand.
I know
yeah.
that. I got Dale was in a movie about Black Oak, Arkansas. The song "Jim Dandy to the Rescue." Have you
Hmm.
ever heard that song?
I don't
Black
think
Oak,
so.
Arkansas was really popular in like the 70s. Yeah. And so we got to meet them and go backstage. And what I loved is that Jim Dandy and I started talking about grandchildren and our children. It's, just down to earth, day to day stuff. And then he went out on stage and they rocked the house. They raised the roof on that place,
Yeah.
you know. And,
Yeah.
and then they would take a break and go back and get the oxygen mask on because they have age. But they'd come back and they were great. And then Joey Skidmore was the one that started all that. Got everybody together, and he had the Garage Kings, Redheaded League. He had his own band, and that was one of the best nights of local talent or talent period that we'd had in a long time. And that's what I like about music. It's more like a family, and everybody gets along and they enjoy everything that's going on. So it was nice.
I'll,
It was a documentary.
Yeah, documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll
And
show you
I'd like to
another
plug
brush
that.
with fame I had. Just a sec. I'll show you another brush with fame I had. So
Right.
I
Okay.
got a framed photo here.
Look at Toronto.
He just went out.
Wow. Your arm is floating above Toronto. That's
Yeah.
wow.
That was great.
What was in that coffee you gave me? Jeez.
You just
Oop.
we can't.
The cat. There's a cat roaming around here.
Cat wants to say hi to Skittles.
Oh, I'll have to get Skittles for
Yes.
before the end of this interview. This is a framed photo. It's kind of going in and out there, but can you see it?
It's not showing.
There's a chick.
Yeah, it keeps cutting out.
It's cutting in and out, man.
There we go.
I see a girl.
What?
Who is that?
That is me with Hillary Duff.
Oh,
Awesome.
okay.
Oh, awesome. She's cool too.
Yeah. And
Wow, you're lucky.
You
yeah, I
like
met her
all kinds of venue,
backstage
don't
at
you?
one of her concerts.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah. And she was awesome.
Wow, that's cool.
Yep. Yep. So
Well, you were kind of gave us an assignment.
Yep.
You wanted us to come up with our 10 favorite bands, and that's not as easy. That is not as easy. I got like 30 bands tied for number one. And we got a few stories we might throw at you, but
Yep.
how do you want
You two both got separate lists, or is it one conjoined top 10?
We have separate lists.
Okay,
And
perfect.
we realized a lot of it as we went through life blended together. Because I am from the Frank Sinatra big band sound, love big bands, love to dance. And then I actually danced with Frank Sinatra. He had he did not have much of a personality, but he was a good dancer and he could sing. And all that happened by accident. Then I got into the 70s sound. I like Southern rock and roll. I like rock and roll. I like Bob Seger. A lot of, oh gosh, a lot of those type, which Bob Seger, the Silver Bullet Band, those type of, they had bands, but a lot of them ended up being individuals. But there was like Journey and Kansas and Foreigner, and I liked all of those bands. Dale liked them too, but then I started hearing him with this heavier stuff. And I got to where I liked Metallica, Slayer, Biohazard. Yes, I know. I could not always understand what they were saying, but they made me move. And so if somebody can make me dance, I'm going to like them. And my son really liked them. And I also like Meatloaf and Carmen. So Meatloaf and Carmen are both theatrical musicians, as I call them. And they could play different types of venues, but they were both very talented theatrically. So I like that. And then I liked, I know I'm taking over, aren't I?
Go right ahead.
Well, I really like Ronnie James Dio. One of the things I like about him is that he could do opera. He could do, he could do anything because he had that range. He could go from high to low to, soprano, baritone, whatever. The only other person that I ever knew that could do that was Roy Orbison. So those two together, I like that. So I've learned to kind of blend things. But I'm a very big fan of Zydeco music. And it is Cajun. It is, you feel it. They're very soulful. You could really feel that. I told Dale, why couldn't we combine Zydeco with heavy metal? But then I realized that heavy metal is a genre of music where Zydeco is a culture. It's from the Cajun culture. Uh, it's very sacred. The Zydeco music is very important to the Cajuns, and but and people may not know Zydeco. Aaron Neville is from that. Joel Sonnier, if people aren't familiar with all that, Zydeco is a lot about the Cajun culture, and the French Canadians, and and you're from Canada, and even though a lot of Zydeco is in Louisiana, Mississippi, and all that, it's still worldwide. It's still. So Dale and I have decided we got to try to figure out how to mix Zydeco with the heavy metal.
Well,
I
well,
want to say this I want to say this real quick. She said she likes Slayer. I'm like, I don't know about I played Slayer, and she's like, turn that down. Turn it on, turn it down. Anyway, go ahead, man.
well, we'll start with you, Mom. What's your number 10?
What's that? What?
He wants to know what your number 10.
My number 10. Wow. It would probably be. Well, it'd probably be Bob Seger. Even though he's great, that'd be my number 10.
Okay. All right. Dale, what's your number 10?
Well, like I say, I got about 80 bands tied for that one. Number 10 would have to be, so many people will be like, dude, that should be number 1, man. But number 10, I'm going to have to go with Motorhead.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Motorhead.
Let me.
Yeah. I mean, that's just pure rock. We are Motorhead, and we play rock and roll. And Ronnie James Dio said that AC/DC
that's another good one.
is one of the greatest garage bands. And I mean that as a compliment. Those are his words. And I mean that as a compliment. If that's the case, Motorhead is in the back in the machine shop.
There you go.
That's the way I consider it. That's they're my number 10.
Yeah.
For now.
Okay. Okay. Mom, what's your number 9?
Wow.
We really, when we were doing our notes for this, we didn't really come up with we came up with bands, but anyway, go ahead, Mom.
To say that probably number 9 would be, and it's a band, but Meatloaf, and he had a band, and I like it. Yeah, that's a good one.
You can go with Meatloaf. That's fine. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. What about you, Dale?
My number 9 would have to be a band called Exodus.
Oh, yes.
And now that I say it, I'm like, they should be a little bit higher on there, but I'm going to go with Exodus. There's a guy in Exodus. He's the rhythm guitar player. His name is Gary Holt. And when Slayer, when Jeff Hanneman passed away, the guitar player for Slayer, they got Gary Holt in to fill in. And there were shows where they had Exodus and Slayer. And from what I gathered, this guy had to do double duty. And that's thrash metal, speed metal.
Ooh.
And to do both of those bands in one night is just it's incredible. And I don't know if anybody out there in the metal world has recognized how hard I did, but I don't know if he did both bands each night. That's insane.
Yeah.
Gary Holt to me is one of the hardest working guitar players, if that's the case, of all time, because that music is very intense, very physical. And to do Slayer and Exodus, or Exodus and Slayer, that's just amazing. But so Exodus, I think, should be higher on the list, but they're on the number 9 slot for me.
A question, Dale. Did you ever see Motorhead or Exodus in concert?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I saw there was one year, I don't remember what year it was, Motorhead did one show in the United States, and it just so happened to be in Kansas City, where we're from. And I got those tickets for free because I was doing a comedy show, and in that comedy show, I did an impersonation of Lemmy. And there was a radio executive in the crowd, and he came up to me and he goes, "That Lemmy impression was spot on. Motorhead's going to be doing one show in the United States on this date in Kansas City. Do you want tickets?" And I about fainted. And I'm like, "Yes." And I've seen them twice, and they are absolutely, well, were. I mean, they're not with us now anymore, but absolutely one of the best live bands I have ever seen was Motorhead. And Exodus, very, very intense. I mean, I used to get into the mosh pits a lot, and that was one that I was afraid to get into. So yeah, both bands very good live.
Well, and you had mentioned Meatloaf. Did you ever see Meatloaf in concert?
I sure did. As a matter of fact, I knew a radio DJ here in the area, and I used to get VIP tickets to our big place out here. It was called Sandstone. It's gone through several names, but it's where a lot of the bands come to play. And so I got free tickets to Meatloaf and got to schmooze with him a little bit. And he is very down to earth, very down to earth. And then he gets up and he puts on a show, or he did, unless it's already, he's gone now, but he was, it was quite an honor actually to meet him. And people say, "Well, where's his autograph?" I forget about that. I like talking to people. I like to get to know people. I don't really go in for the autograph or anything. So, that was really a night that touched me. So,
Yeah,
but not Meatloaf.
Right.
Just trying to clear that up.
I've heard a lot of good things about Meatloaf. I've had Little Nell from the Rocky Horror Picture Show on here a couple times.
Yes.
And
Okay.
she's
Yes.
yeah. She's in Australia.
Oh wow,
That's great. That is great.
my mom said about getting free tickets. I want to make this a quick story. When Sammy Hagar,
Oh yes, the Red Rocker.
let's see, when he came out with his album Voice of America, which had I Can't Drive 55 on it. I wanted to go see that concert so bad, and I'll tell you why. Because on the radio the night before, he was on some show, and he was talking about girls flashing their boobs. So that's the real reason why I wanted to go. I didn't tell her that. I wanted to go, and she wouldn't let me go. Okay, so I missed that show. Fast forward several decades later, years and years go by. My mom calls me up on the phone just random. She goes, "Guess where I'm at?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Where are you at?" She goes, "I'm here seeing the Red Rocker, Sammy Hagar." I'm like, dang it. She got to see Sammy Hagar. I never did. Still jealous. Well, I did. I take that back. I got to see Van Halen on the Monsters of Rock tour with Sammy Hagar, but still, he got to go. And I didn't.
To see him real. He can perform.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Well, what's your number 8?
Number 8.
What's your number 8? Let's start with Mom. Yeah.
Okay.
This one is going to be, it's more, but they're garage bands. I like a lot of the garage bands, the local bands. There's one called Three Cokes and a Chicken. They're really good. But I love Garage Kings and the Redheaded League. Those two come in together on that number. They are rock and roll. But they're really, really good.
Okay.
I might want to correct you.
What?
I think, is it 4 fried chickens and a Coke?
I thought it was 3.
What? It's
I thought it was
reference from Blues Brothers.
Blues Brothers, yeah.
4 fried chickens and a Coke. He did correct me. I'm sorry, band.
I think that was their name.
That is it. That is their
4
name.
fried chickens and a Coke.
Yeah.
That was in Blues Brothers, yeah.
Carnivals and but they're great. So yeah.
What's your number 8?
Your number 8.
Number 8, yeah.
Again, another band that should probably be top on the list. Judas Priest.
Oh.
Man, Rob Halford
Yes.
and Judas Priest, the way that they have when they started, the way that they evolved throughout how different throughout the years of their existence, music's kind of done some up, not ups and downs, but it's moved around a little bit, and each they have different sets. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. Um, they've been able to go and flow with the times and fluctuations of how music has kind of gone, with like Turbo back then. I'm not they're one of their best albums, but it was going with at the time. That's where the metal scene was at. And then you have when they did Painkiller, music was getting a little heavier, and not. And my God, when they came out with Painkiller, they moved, they pushed the envelope on that one. And then you go back to their earlier stuff, Sad Wings of Destiny, which is, very mellow, almost like a Southern rock sort of. And so they've been able to touch on Southern rock, hair metal, power metal, so they really, and when they do it, they top it. They show it how it's done. So I got to go with Judas Priest, man.
Okay. What's your number 7?
Mine would be boy, that one was a hard 5, 6, and 7 were hard ones for me. Huh? Yeah. I had mentioned Meatloaf and Carmen. Carmen is a Christian theatrical rock and roll, but he has a whole band with him, so it's not just him as an individual. The thing I liked about Carmen, though, is he writes his own music to fit the youth of the time. He writes to the youth, and he really, really hits home with a lot of what they're going through at the time. But he puts it into a musical score, and really, he's passed also, but really good. So
Excellent. Did you see Carmen in concert?
yes, I did. And I took my niece one time. I've seen him 3 times, and I took my niece one time. She got to meet him because as she started listening to him when she was about 3 years old, she liked him, and I took her tapes and all that. So she was thrilled to get to meet him. And so he really touched a lot of people, but he also was very talented.
He touched a lot of people with his talent.
There you go. I got to remember how I word things.
I brought my 3-year-old niece and he touched her. That's not what happened.
What's your number 7, Dale?
Ronnie James Dio.
Oh yeah.
Again, there we go.
I somehow think he should be at the top, but what an incredible voice. He was. They say I met him one time. So he was a gentleman, very nice to talk to, very polite, and he was just short guy, but he sang like a giant, man. He had the voice, and he was all the way back in the doo-wop days. Not a lot of people know that. And there's stuff out there where, there's like the Four Seasons, he was one of those type of guys.
Right.
And he evolved also with that. And then I guess the 60s came around, and you got the hippies, and he got involved with that kind of music. And then it just kept going, he went from, he was in a band called Elf. And then he went on to be in Rainbow, where they were 70s.
Yeah, that's when that's when I first heard of him.
Yeah. And then of course Black Sabbath. Then he went on to his own. But he's got 50s doo-wop music all the way to Black Sabbath. Come on, man. And that guy just nails it every time. So Ronnie James Dio has got to be I should have changed. He should have been higher up, but I'm going to give him number 7.
Okay. What about you? What about number 6 for you?
I I know you guys are gonna, but I really, uh, Jerry Vale
Hmm.
as what, like the 40s and all that with Frank Sinatra, and you had the big band sound, and um, that was a venue I really liked. Was the you could do a lot of, they could do, most of it was slow like waltz type music, but still you had your, and also that was a time that they were starting to entertain the troops a lot, and Bob Hope would have a lot of these people go overseas to entertain the troops, and man, these people could just, you could, they got you to feel the soul of the music, so that's what I like about that.
Okay.
Would not have guessed that.
I know.
What about you, Dale? What's your number 6?
Deep Purple.
Oh yeah.
Deep
What
Purple.
about light purple?
It just doesn't match my eye. I don't. It's got to be deep. Got to be deep. Uh,
Was there smoke on the water when you saw them, or did you not see them in concert?
yeah, yeah.
That's why I didn't want him going to Red Rocker. Too much smoke on the water.
Deep Purple is such a. I don't think a lot of people really, that Deep Purple. Oh yeah, Deep Purple. But they're very talented.
Yep.
And as we go down the list, my stuff's going to get heavier. And so what I'm about to tell you blows people's minds, about my favorite album of all time. I know this is not the question at hand. My favorite album of all time is Perfect Strangers by Deep Purple.
Okay.
Beats all the other stuff out. And but Deep Purple is number 6 for me.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
number 6.
fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic choice.
Yeah.
What about you? We're getting into your top 5. What's your number 5?
Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I
Wow.
love them. I have never got to see them in person, um, which has just crushed me. But I love the whole story behind it and the different types of musicians and the music that they play. They've got violins in there, they've got cellos, but they rock. The guy was from a heavy metal band that originally started it, and but they keep it to where everybody can enjoy their music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That heavy metal band, it was, I believe, John Olivia. I might have the name wrong, but from Sabotage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right.
And they started, and then there was a guy from Testament.
Yes.
Who's been Alex Skolnick from Testament.
Uh-huh.
Very heavy metal band. He was with. I don't know if he's with them all the time. I know because he's got other projects that he's involved with, but they're Testament, Sabotage. Guys from Metal are in Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and I like them too. I'd like to take them on to a concert sometimes, but life gets in the way of life sometimes.
Well, they're only here in this area at Christmas time.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Okay.
They should invite me to go backstage at one of their concerts.
Great. Mom's a groupie, and I'm just finding it out. Okay.
Well, what's your number 5?
Probably should be number 1, Black Sabbath.
Oh, yeah.
I can't. Just Black Sabbath, man. One of my favorite albums by them is when the guy Ian Gillan from Deep Purple went and sang with them on their album Born Again, and that album is like the third singer for Black Sabbath, and people just lose their mind if you start changing singers. But if you play that album, that is one of the best albums of all time. Yeah. And but Black Sabbath, what can you say?
You see them live?
Yes. Yes, I was I couldn't believe I got to see them live with all the original members. There was an Ozfest several years ago where all Ozzy Osbourne, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, Bill Ward,
Yeah.
all of them. And I was just blown away that I got to see him. By the way, who opened up for him was Slayer. So that show was, for me. But yeah, Black Sabbath, number 5.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. What about you? Number 4.
Cream.
Ah,
Ginger
nice.
Baker. Yes. I like Cream. They were.
I like it in my coffee. No, seriously though, great choice. Great choice. Do you see them live?
You must know if you saw him live.
I did. And this is the weird. Yes, it is. This is very weird. And there was a place called One Block West on the plaza in Kansas City, Missouri. And this was before they got well known. And they play, it was a little tiny, basically dive bar, a bit of piano bar. And they came there to play. And they were, you could even touch them. The place was so small. They were just rocking the house. Ginger Baker passed out, and the band just all went around, put him back up on his stool, but they all kept on playing during that whole little episode.
Wow.
So, yeah, I like them.
Great.
Excellent.
That's
Excellent.
surprising. That's surprising.
Well, you know what?
Surprising.
Great choice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very
Yeah.
good choice. I wasn't expecting that. That's
Yeah.
what.
No. Well, that's one of the great things about lists. You get unexpected choices. What's your number 4, Dale?
Metallica.
Okay.
Metallica's number 4 on my list. They were at one time. I didn't think they could be beat. Well, we know what happened with him. When I first heard him, I was very, very into Judas Priest and Black Sabbath. And when I heard Metallica, I had to scoot those guys off to the side.
Yeah.
And that's a bold statement. And we were at the time, this is in the Midwest. Kansas City's right in the heart of the United States, pretty much. And there was no internet, and all it was word of mouth. And I'd heard of him, and I thought it was kind of a cool name. And then somebody came over and said, "Man, check this out." And the first song I ever heard by Metallica was "For Whom the Bell Tolls." And
Okay.
you talk about blown away, man. I was like, wow. And this was the day of the cassette tape. And we would
I remember
play
those.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, some of the young kids are watching that. What is a cassette tape? What is
You
it?
and I
They
are
put
around the
music on
same
tape.
age. You and I, I was born in 1972, so you and I
Okay.
are close proximity. So
Pretty close. Yeah, I was born in 70.
there you
And
go.
you
You were
were-
born the
you-
same age you're my older
Yep.
brother. So there you go.
Okay. I feel like I'm his older brother.
Yeah, see, there you go.
I got to tell you, man, you look really good. You look a lot better at 2 years younger than me than I look 2 years older than you. You look fine. I look like I'm 90.
No,
But
Are you kidding
we
me?
can go age.
Yeah.
We're not even going to touch age right now.
I had a friend of mine turning 51 this year, and he asked me how much older I was than him, and I said, "Well, I'm turning 53 this year." And I said, "I hate to throw a wet blanket on your celebration, but when I turned 51, that was when I had my retina operation on my eye, and now I go have my
bless
second."
your heart. Wow.
Yeah, and then I'm going to have my second hernia operation. I'm like, yeah, I'm starting to feel like Rodney Dangerfield, It's like everything's falling apart.
Hey, when I turned 78, I couldn't shake my tail feathers like I used to, and I was quite discouraged.
There you go. 78, I thought you were 39.
I thought you were 39.
There you go. I know that's why I like you.
There you go.
It's all in the personality.
There you go. Well, I know you guys have seen Metallica in concert.
Oh yeah. For the longest time, they were the most I'd seen. I'd seen them 13 times and live, and They got beat. They got beat. I've seen Slayer 17 times. So
Well, there you go.
yeah, yeah. But Mom, I don't think you never saw Metallica.
No, I didn't.
No,
I,
she
I,
never got
no,
a, she
I
never really got a
see him in
chance
person.
to see
Yeah.
Metallica live, but I made up for it for her. I took
Yes,
her
you did.
times to go. Anyway,
Well, we're heading into our top three. So, Metal Mom, what's your number three?
Gotta be Joey Skidmore. Now
Okay.
he plays all kinds of venues. He plays with different types of bands. He's very talented, but he is theatrical as well. And he can do filming, he can do documentaries, he gets on stage and he rocks. He rocks with his band, and I really like him. He can touch you. Uh-oh, I shouldn't say that again, should I? He
Wait
he
till
gets the
MC.
music just flowing.
Wait till MC Hammer comes in there. You can't touch this.
Joey Skidmore and I are in a couple of movies. Yeah, we're in at least one movie together. No, two movies, I think.
Yeah.
Really, really low budget splatter horror flicks, but that's how I met him. And
What was one of them? What was it? Kiki and the Vampire?
Kiki Meets the Vampires.
That's good.
They're filming a sequel. I've already done part of my part. Kiki Meets the Aliens. I don't know when that's coming out, but we filmed it. We're working on it anyway. He was also the guy that, yeah, he was also the guy that did the documentary for Black Oak, Arkansas.
Yes, yeah.
And he wanted me to tell jokes in that for some reason, and okay, all right, I'll do it, but anyway, yeah, I didn't mean to. I think that was good. Over.
No, you didn't. As you can tell, my son, he had a boss one time that called him the walking musical encyclopedia. And he is.
There you go. There you go.
Google used to call me. Google would call me. Who is the drummer for Dio in '82?
There you go. Well, what's your number three, Dale?
A band from Brazil called Sepultura.
Okay.
Yeah, they are. They were 1 year. When MTV used to do their music awards, and for the Brazilian Music Awards, Sepultura 1 year beat out Michael Jackson, and unfortunately, they have the singer, the singer who's also the rhythm guitar player, and the drummer are brothers. They're Max and Igor Cavalera. And Max Cavalera has gone on, and I don't know how offhand. I don't remember. I think he's in six different bands. He's Sepultura. He went on to Soulfly, Nail Bomb. He did a thing with Dave Grohl called Probot. Okay. Then him and his brother got back together to do Cavalera Conspiracy. He's in a band with his son called he's in another band called Killer Be Killed, and now he's in another band with his son. Let him die. I can't remember. I don't know. She said I know everything about music. I don't know this. Anyway, the guy is in 7 bands. And but Sepultura is what started them off. And if anybody in the metal world has never heard the album Arise by Sepultura, got to be one of the heaviest things ever created since the history of sound.
Yeah, because he's played that for me before. And yeah,
it's too much for it. It's too much for. But Sepultura is my number 3.
Excellent. Well, Metal Mom, we're coming to number 2 for you.
That is a rough one, because I have so many. Probably Petra. Okay. Petra is, yes, they are a rock and roll, but they're Christian rock and roll.
Yes,
But
my younger brother had one of their albums that I think was called
good.
SOS. Yep.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
they're really good. They're very talented, and so and they play to the audience.
I like
They
that
play to their
song,
fans.
Beyond the Gun. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond the
Beyond
Gun
the
by
Gun.
Petra.
Okay, yes. Yeah, okay. I didn't hear you at first. I have
Yep.
hearing issues. No, I'm a geezer. So yeah, I really like them. I like them a
Well,
lot.
did
And
you
I
see? Did you
actually
ever?
got to see them. I did get to see them. They came one year to Olathe, and College Church of the Nazarene has a huge auditorium. So they played there. But it was, everybody was welcome. It wasn't pigeonholed into one thing. And everybody enjoyed it. Even the blue hairs really.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Nice. That's a great pick. That's a more obscure pick than Cream, I think. But yeah, it's a great pick. I remember
yeah,
Petra. Yep. Well,
yeah,
Dale, what's
yeah.
your number two?
Slayer. But
Slayer.
you got to say it. Slayer.
That's right.
Well, I know
I
you've told stories about somebody being slayed with raw chicken. So hey,
That's
so you've seen
Mom's
Slayer
here.
17 times. You've seen them in concert. Wow.
I've seen them 17 times, and they almost get better. The last time I saw them, which was supposed to be their farewell tour, it was their farewell tour. They pop up every now and then and do a show, but they don't do that, and they said they were going to do that. There's a lot of people that give them hell about, oh, you guys said you were going to quit. Well, why are you playing? Well, they said they were going to quit, but would be open to doing a show here and there. And that's what they're doing. I don't give them fault for that. People should be happy that they're doing a show.
Yeah.
But every live show I've seen from them is very intense, very, very, very intense. And I saw them open for Pantera one time, and handed Pantera their ass. Well, that was a good show, but I've met Kerry King twice. There is a Tom Araya fan page, and that every now and then they would do a contest, and it was called Ask Tom Araya, the singer for Slayer. And I am proud, and I want to brag that I won one of those contests.
Yes, he did.
And you ask him a question and he would answer it. And my question, they were actually, they were talked a lot about the devil. And and hell and all that, and a lot of evil stuff.
That's what I turned Petra on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there for a while, I was actually scared to listen to him. I was younger, and I'm like, I don't want devil music. And
Well,
then
hopefully they find Jesus. So there you go.
well, yeah. And
That's
but
the way to
I
go.
got to ask him. Yeah, I got to ask him what if Slayer had ever being a comic, in a road touring comic, you have hell gigs. And they were known for talking about hell a lot. So my question was, did Slayer ever have a hell gig? And his answer was yes, that they had their equipment was left in France when they had to do a tour in South America.
Oh.
And so they had to borrow people's instruments, go to local records or music stores to buy stuff. And then he broke it down. That sounded like a hell gig.
Yeah.
And but anyway, Slayer is number 2.
Wow. Well, Metal Mom, we're coming up at number 1. Who is number 1 with you?
Well, it's not really a band.
That's okay.
But Kid Rock. The boy Kid Rock. And when I mentioned earlier about Troubadour, music, he's a true troubadour. He could sing anything and everything at any time. And he he feels the music. And actually, a lot of the people and the bands we have mentioned, that's one of the reasons I like them is they feel the music. They're not canned. They're not paid by a promoter. They're doing the music that they love. And that's what music should be about.
Did you
So,
see,
and Kid Rock is like that. He
did you
can do
see him in
anything,
concert?
anytime, anywhere, you know. So,
You want to know if you've seen him in concert?
sadly, no. Every time I've wanted to go, something happened. Uh, he was supposed to send his limo to pick me up to go see him. He, however, doesn't know that. But that, yeah, I would love to. I would love to go to a show and meet him. So,
There
and
you
I
go.
like musicians that have a backstory. You know, some of
Mhm.
these musicians have come from squalor. Uh, they've come from people telling them they can't make it. I'm not really into the musicians that make the money and then kill themselves doing drugs. I don't care for that. But the ones who get out there, make the money, give back to their fans, put on a show, that's what I really like.
Absolutely. Well, Dale, what's your number one?
Man, it's going to blow a lot of people's minds, but a band called Propane.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say
Propane, man.
Yes.
For a lot of reasons, I when I saw them, they opened up for a really good another band that was probably on my. If we went to 11, they would be on there. A band called Overkill, and they opened up for them. And I'd heard like 30 seconds of one song or something, and I remember I didn't like it, and I was very judgmental right off the bat. I was like, what are these guys gonna do? And they ended up scaring the shit out of me. The guy Gary Meskel used to be in the Crumbsuckers punk band, and then he started. Then he got into the band Propane, and when they came out, I was like, "Oh my god!" And that particular time, they were brand new. They only had 2 albums out. Next day, I went and bought both albums. And
There you go.
but I want to tell this story about Gary Meskel and Propane. I've seen them quite a few times. Not seven. If they were here in town, I'd see them. Like I would like sneak in if I didn't have any money, but that never happened. But I I had a good friend of mine, a good comedian friend of mine. I'm not going to say his name, but this is sad. His baby died, and so he was obviously, affected by that. Well, doing comedy, sometimes we'll have people come up to us after a show and they'll be like, our house was on fire a couple of months ago and we've lost everything. And tonight's the first night out and that we had since the fire. And we just want to say how much that you've really made us laugh and made us happy, and so as a comedian, you feel like, I have my cape on. I feel like Superman, like I've helped people, and those are wonderful things. To come from tragedy, it's a wonderful thing. So this night we went to go see Propane, and it was my friend's first night out since his baby passed. And Gary Meskel, this was at a bar there, so it was a little more a person, closer, more intimate. And so when Gary Meskel was we standing next to us, we started talking to him. He was a very nice guy, but he's a big, giant skin. He's not a skinhead, but he's bald. And when he sings, he's very, just very pissed off sounding, and it's heavy and it's in your face, and and so there's that attitude. Comes off the stage. He's, just chatting with us now, being a normal guy. And my friend, he said, this is the first night that I've been out since my baby died. And Gary Meskel grabbed him and gave him a hug.
Oh, see,
and
that's what I mean. The music family.
My friend said that was probably the most non-metal moment. And I'm like, I don't know, man. and but it was really heartfelt, and
Yeah.
to just to have that kind of
Camaraderie.
camaraderie, yeah,
Yeah.
and that bonding, like it just that action, that gesture, that just grabbed him, just gave him a hug, patted him on the back, that sold it to me. They're my favorite band. I've got all of their albums. They are very consistent. They're one of those bands. They'll play like 20 songs and then go hello, and not a lot of banter, but just enough to keep the show going. And I can't say, I don't have anything bad to say about them. Great band, and they're my number one.
Absolutely.
Who would you say is your number one?
Me?
Yeah, who's your number
I'll,
one?
I'll be honest with
Yeah.
you. I've got a wide range of tastes. I think my favorite band ever,
Yeah, I had a feeling. Yeah,
I love the Cars.
I had a feeling that you like music.
What's
I
that?
love the Cars. I've got all the Cars stuff on vinyl. I've got
Cars.
it all on CD.
I,
I
whoa,
love the Cars, always did.
whoa. Who
I
made you
love
my Sharona? The neck. Okay, never mind.
okay. Love the Cars.
I misspoke. Keep going.
I love the Ramones a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
See,
a
he's
big
got-
fan of AC/DC. I love AC/DC.
Oh yes, that was hard not to put them on my list.
They should have been on my list.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
they-
AC/DC. I admire the fact that were able to keep going after Bon Scott and be every bit as successful.
Yeah.
Iron Maiden, I like Iron Maiden a lot. I grew
Oh,
up
Oh
with
yeah,
them.
that's one of his favorites too.
Yeah.
It's hard to have a favorite in music
Mm-hmm.
because music brings out the favorite in yourself, in the individual. Music
Yeah.
will bring you out of yourself into enjoying life, and so it's hard to have just one favorite.
Yeah.
But that's cool. The ones you named, that is cool.
Mom actually turned me on to the Cars.
I forgot
love the
about that.
Cars.
Yeah.
Mom turned me on to Johnny Cash, the Cars,
Yes.
the Beatles.
Oh.
Oh, I
Police.
love the Beatles. Oh, wow. How can
Yeah.
I not mention them?
Yeah, they got to get
Yes.
mentioned. Yeah, the Beatles.
Oh my goodness. One of my favorite songs growing up was I Want to Hold Your Hand. I
Yeah.
remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you had the 45. The 45.
I had the fourth.
Tell that to the kids
We had
today.
the-
We had a 45. You mean a gun? It's a gun? What is that? A 45.
We used to have 45s.
Yep.
But my parents still have an 8-track player, so
Oh,
Yes. Yes.
yeah. Oh my, I could probably think of more, like the Bangles were great, you could go on and on. I've had a number of musicians on here, Tony Basil I've had on here. That I had her on here on Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. So,
Wow.
boy,
Love-
this is nostalgia right here. I like
Yeah.
that. I've got to tell you something, Python.
Mhm.
I want to let you know that I'm not in all of this. You know how to make people feel comfortable, and you know how to bring out their likes. You keep the negativity out of it. You bring out the positivity, and you really make us feel comfortable. And I appreciate that.
I appreciate having you two. I admire the dynamic between you two, like
Oh,
most
thank you.
people. Well, most people, it's like most people want to get away from their parents, at a certain age. But it's like you two are like buds. I think everybody should aspire to
Yeah.
have that.
I actually, and what? I didn't hear that last part.
I think
I
people
actually gave
should.
him fodder for his comedy.
Yeah.
He didn't grow up with a mother like me. He's got a lot of fodder for the comedy. So
Mhm.
We didn't agree on. There were some things that we didn't agree on, and I want to tell that real quick. There was a poster.
oh
I had a
yes.
I wish I had it. I had a poster of King Diamond, and who was also with Merciful Fate. And if anybody's not familiar with King Diamond, he paints his face. He's one of those guys, but none of the other guys in the band do it. It's like, oh, I thought you said we were all going to paint our face. And he's the only one that showed up. But he's got his mic stand is bones. And on this particular one, it had a baby hanging off of it. And my mom saw this poster and lost her shit. What is that? I don't want that hanging up in my house. That is terrible. It's a baby. He's trying to eat. That's where when she said eat the baby.
Yeah, that's
because he's singing and his mouth is open, but this baby is right there. It's a doll. And so it appears that he's trying to eat the baby. And she's like, I don't want any of that baby eating crap in my house. And
Didn't you play it like a few weeks after that? You were playing one of his songs, and I go, "Oh, I really like that."
yeah.
And he said,
Yes.
"That's the kill your baby and eat it for lunch guy." And I said,
Oh, yeah. That was
That's
hilarious.
hilarious. Yeah, I grew up with a lot of interesting bands. It's like I've had Tiffany on here, I've
Yeah.
I had Gord Lewis from Teenage Head on here. Um, oh my goodness, who else? I've had a number of people on here. So and hope to have a lot more. But
and that's what I like about your show, your podcasts, or whatever they're called nowadays. But that's what I like about them is you have a variety of
Yes.
people,
Yeah.
and some are well known, some are not. But it's so interesting, the questions you present to them, and you've got a very good show going on there.
And I also want to say thank you for having us on.
Oh yes,
You know,
yes.
it is an honor to be on your show, man. It's when you got a hold of me and asked me, and I'm like, man,
We were thrilled.
we were thrilled. We were like, wow, he wants us to be on again.
well, you
So
were
thank you.
like, what do we have to talk? I had to spin the top 10 band things. This guy's like, oh, hoo-hoo, I don't know what to talk about. And I'm like, do you think I'm reaching out for nothing?
Guilty as charged,
Yeah.
man. I apologize, man.
Look,
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
I've had people reach out to me that I've never heard of, ask if they could come on the show. Like I had an Australian filmmaker reach out to me, and
Wow.
he said to me, like, I never heard of him, and I just looked his stuff up, and I said yes. Like, who am I to say no? It's not like I'm
Well,
world famous,
there you go. There you go.
But he said to me before the Zoom, he goes, we probably won't get any more than half hour. We talked for 2.5 hours.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And it was just going on like this.
Oh yes.
I work as a cleaner. One of my supervisors, former supervisors, now she moved on to other things, but we got talking about my podcast. She goes, I'd like to come on your show. And I said, well, what dates and time are you available?
Right.
People would not think of that as something that would get clicks and likes, but I don't care. We were able to talk about some of the weird shit that went on while we were cleaning at some of the buildings. I didn't care. I had one of my former workers at the hospital I used to work at. I found out that she was had a side hustle where she sold beauty products. And I had her come on and talk about that. And she looked very plain at the beginning of the interview, but she was putting that stuff on as she went. By the end of the interview, she looked like a rock star. Like she not only said, use this product, she proved that it worked right on the Zoom.
Oh, that's fascinating. Fascinating.
So I find interviews in a lot of different places. And I don't like saying no to people. I rarely ever do. The only times I really ever do is if somebody ends up, I had one person who rescheduled on me 3 times, and 2 of those times I was waiting here for like an hour.
Oh,
So,
no, that's
yeah,
rude.
yeah.
Um,
So, other than that, I don't turn people down. I consider it a blessing that anybody accept my offer to begin with. So, yeah. So I always have a good time talking to you too. So I had trust me, if I reach out and say, come on, then chances are I've got something we could talk about.
all right. Okay, man. Well, when you ask us again, and we will be more ready. I got to tell you, we knew that about the person that had rescheduled on you, and we knew how much it upset you. So we were all like,
Well,
we are not going to
You
do.
want me to
And
tell
then
you
last,
something? This
what's
person
that?
I had reached out to years ago, and he had said yes, but he never got back to me. I come out of the movie theater one day, and there was a private message from him asking if I was still doing podcasts. Well, yeah. So I ended up having a conversation with him on Facebook, the phone thing on Facebook. He sounded to me like he was on something. You know how you can talk to somebody, you could tell they're either drunk or stoned.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I had 3 times I waited here. First
Uh,
time something had come up with the person he was supposed to come on there with, I requested as well, was snowed in. So I was like, okay, that's no problem. Reschedule. The second time, the excuse was a snowstorm. Okay, we have them here. Okay. Third time, like I was just sitting here for an hour waiting, and I have never heard so much of an apology from this person. So I never reached out. I'm not reaching out to this person again.
I
Um,
wouldn't either.
yeah.
What happened with us?
Well,
Yeah, we were not
well,
going to
we
reschedule.
were not going to reschedule, but last night we had this wild storm.
Well,
Oh,
People without
if you
power.
guys had it rescheduled, I would have done it.
Well, no,
I would have rescheduled you too because this person
I,
this person I'd never had on before. You two,
right.
at least I know
yes,
your
okay. Well,
personalities.
which is good to know. I don't
Yeah.
like rescheduling, and we were both excited to do that.
We were so excited. We would have done it next to a fallen down tree.
Yeah.
We
But
would
I
have had
mean,
no problem doing that.
well, if you two had have rescheduled, I would have done it in a heartbeat. I wouldn't have been bothered because I know who you two are.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
talking,
you.
yeah.
Thank
I'm
you.
I'm
Well,
talking about. I've
you're
had
like
Well,
my,
like,
yeah,
yeah,
okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. You cut
yeah.
out. Say that
Well, I
again.
was gonna say I've had another female set decorator from an indie movie did the same thing to me.
Okay.
I sat here and sat here and sat here. Again, a first time guest. If they're going to schedule with me and they can't do it at that time, reschedule. I've
Right,
rescheduled. I've had
right.
one person, yeah. I've had one
Yeah,
person I knew who had rescheduled with me 3 times and I still had them on because I knew who they were and
right.
I
And you knew
knew that
that.
yeah. So I'm very lenient, but first
Right.
time people when they do that with me, it's
Well,
if they
I
yeah.
personally get excited when Dale told me because I felt a real rapport with you the first time you had me on. And and you were tolerant of me because I don't have an off switch. But I really like your mannerism. You're real, you're genuine. And so I said, when the storm hit, the electricity was out, trees were flying around the house. I said, well, we're not going to reschedule. So
Well,
we
you
will be
know
on
what?
the show even if we're in a whirlwind.
Well, you know
I
what? It
don't
was
think
my
it
pleasure and
happened.
honor to have you both on here. So,
Oh,
yeah,
thank you.
our honor to be
Thank
on here.
you.
So thank you. I will get
absolutely.
I want to get a hold of you after this and suggest a few people, if that's okay.
Absolutely. You
Have
you do
anything.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Okay.
send me a private message and we could do that. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. I'm more than open to that.
Awesome. I
Yes.
hate to be rude. I have to excuse myself. This has been wonderful. My Python Paradise good friend Greg, son from another mother. I am very honored, sir. Very honored.
I'm very honored too. God bless you both. Keep the faith and keep rocking out. Keep
You
raising
know
metal.
it. You know it. So
Right on.
rock on.
Thanks, Greg.
Rock on.
Just
Take
keep
care.
on
God
rocking.
bless.
God bless, man.
Absolutely. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.